white people in this country are the most discriminated against. Now, since everybody wants to say I'm lying, let me tell you some facts. And I don't mean to hurt your feelings, but it's a fact that there's been Harvard studies done, polls, and a ton of other evidence to back this fact up. As a matter of fact, 55% of white Americans feel like they've been discriminated against, whether at jobs, applying for colleges, in their personal life, or right here on social media especially. Now, if you didn't know, there's about 375 million Americans in this country, in which white Americans make up about 200 million of that. Now, 13% or 50 million of that population is black Americans. Now, 55% of 200 million is well over 100 million. So when I say that whites are the most discriminated against in this country today, those are facts you can glean yourself, and it ain't getting no better. Okay, let's just say the 55% or 110 million white Americans that felt discriminated against doesn't matter. But if you read further on into the Harvard study, it will actually tell you that 19% of white Americans actually experience being discriminated against. And there's no ambiguity here. Without a doubt, white Americans are the most discriminated against in 2021. But for those that only felt discriminated against, like when the mayor of Chicago said she only take questions and interviews from black reporters, I feel you. Like those that experienced racial prejudice directly towards them on social media. But I guess that's just a feeling too, right? So I feel you. I hope that in 2022 we can all learn to treat each other better and not use any racial innuendos when referring to anybody. Because I don't know about you, but I hate being judged and discriminated against based solely upon the color of my skin. And I stand for equality for all. I don't know about you.
It won't play his audio. Smoke incoming.
So y'all should know this guy. I had a 3-minute response that TikTok won't let me post, and it was pretty long-winded, so let me just summarize it for you right here. Thanks for tagging me. Since we want to talk facts over feelings, the one study you cite is a poll of 902 white U.S. adults in which 55% of them believe that discrimination against white people exists today. When it comes to how many of them actually say they experience discrimination themselves, you get 19% as your highest answer. So no, 55% of Americans didn't say they feel like they've been oppressed. 2, you looked dead in my eye and said facts over feelings, then provided a poll, which is how people feel. 3, if 55% of white people in that study saying that anti-white discrimination exists means that white people are the most discriminated against, then how did you miss the fact that that same study also asked black people, to which 92% say that discrimination against them exists? By your own logic, since we're working off opinions, that means that black people are the most discriminated against. And before you go to raw numbers, if we take the 19% of white people in that study who actually say they experience discrimination, that's roughly 47 million people. If we take the 60% of black people in that same study that say that they've experienced discrimination, that's over 26 million people, which is over half the 47 million from white people from earlier, in a country with nearly 6 times as many white people as black people. That means, according to the study that you used, that more black people per capita will have experienced discrimination than white people. 4, your argument's quadruply stupid when you realize that a poll asking people how they feel is not the same as proving that discrimination exists. The difference is we have evidence, and you do not. 5, you mentioned Lori Lightfoot saying she'd only take interviews from black reporters as a form of anti-white discrimination, conveniently missing the fact that it was for her 2-year anniversary of her inauguration, so her, a person of color, wanting to grant that opportunity to other people of color is some great discrimination you got there. 6, you mentioned this article from GOP USA, complaining that most of the hate speech on Facebook is directed towards white people, conveniently missing the fact that Facebook overhauled its algorithms a year ago because its race-blind algorithms was actually taking down more slurs against white people than it was against marginalized groups. So in an attempt to stop minorities from leaving their website and to, get more profit like corporations do, they overhauled their algorithms to prioritize slurs against minority groups. So of course a year later you'd see it skewed in the other direction. At this point, I don't know if you're satire or dead serious. We're from the same city, and Chicago was one of the most redlined cities in America, let alone the North. But you seem hell-bent on making it a point to say that white people are actually the ones who are oppressed, while in the same breath using facts over feelings whilst not providing a single fact. I award you no points. May God have mercy on your soul.